We have 3 examples in our utility belt at this point. Let's take a look at a couple more. Dig in a bit. These are going to be a little bit more involved. I think it ramps up. The last one in particular will, take some time on. But let's go ahead and get started. So, looking again through those PowerPoint slides, we've got one that says, "I eat well, or I won't be healthy." Um, I eat well, therefore I must be healthy. That's our setup. So again, it's seems like we've only got 2 core simple statements lying inside this thing. So eating well looks like it works for one. Being healthy is the other. So there's our structure in terms of the simple statements. Now let's analyze what the hypotheses and the conclusion of the argument look like symbolically. So H1 says, I eat well or I'm not healthy. So that's P or not Q. Again, technically, if you wanted to work not being healthy into this, it changes the structure. We're just going to go with it, for now. Like I said, I default to avoiding nots in here. That's just me. So hypothesis 2 says I eat well. That's B. Conclusion. Therefore, I'm healthy. So Q. So again, it feels weird. H2 and C don't seem all that intricate. It's really having to work around the fact that we're going to need to do a little more legwork before we can write down what's happening with H1. So there's our argument structure. Let's dig into the truth table. Truth table. There we go. So we need to do a little more work than we have in the past because we need to do something before we can write down what's going on with that initial hypothesis. We need the negation of Q. Again, if you've been at this for a really long time, maybe you've got the swagger to try to remember to take care of it all at once. I don't have that swagger, and I've been doing this since, I'm not even going to bring up how long I've been doing this. So we need to negate Q before we can do its disjunction with P. So I just take my Q column, and I do the flippity-flop on my true-false values. There we go. Now I can look at H1. I'm hoping I can fit this on the board. So now I need P or not Q. If you wanted to mark these guys with arrows, have at it. I have true or false. I need at least one true for a disjunction. I, in fact, have it. True or true. False or false. That one is, in fact, false. Then at the bottom we have false or true. That's a true. All right. H1, check. H2, not so painful. It is simply P. So copy and paste. True, true, false, false. I have both hypotheses now sketched out in my truth table. Conjunction time. True and true. It's true. True and true again. False and false. It's false. True and false. I need both of them to be true. That's not the case. So true, true, false, false. So, okay. Double checking, yeah. All right, conclusion is just Q. Be healthy. Feels like a weird directive, but anyway, I can take this guy and just glue him in to the appropriate spot in the table. And maybe you see where this is going. It's okay if you don't, because we should still work out the last column for the big honking conditional. H1 and H2 implies C. You say I was worried I was going to have some trouble with space on this. So true implies true. Again, true implies true is in fact true. True implies false. That's a false. Officially, we're done if all we're interested in is in the argument. I don't do that. False implies true. It's true. False implies false. It's true. So true, false, true, true. Are these all trues? No, they're not. So that means our argument is invalid. Again, remember, we don't talk about arguments being true or false because it's a question of their logical structure. working regardless of what's going on in terms of truth or falsehood. This one doesn't really have a neat name like the last guy we saw, the fallacy of the converse. If you wanted to give it a name, it's sort of misusing disjunctive reasoning. So it kind of hammers home the point of why that exclusive or that I talked about, doesn't work in a lot of circumstances. Anyway, so got one more example I want to take a look at. I will clean this board up and then we'll get to it. With a clean board behind me, let's go ahead and dig in. So the last example I want to take a look at here is more involved on several different levels. We'll see how it breaks down. If you can handle this guy, you're good for anything we're going to be doing as far as this course is concerned. So it says, if I am tired or hungry, I cannot concentrate. I can concentrate, therefore I am not tired and not hungry. That one is quite dense if you start breaking it down. So we'll take a look at what's going on here. This time around, we actually are going to need 3 simple statements because you can see I've got tired, I've got hungry, I've got concentration in there. So I will shorthand these pretty aggressively. You could technically try to work in like a knot there, but no, I'm just, So we have those 3 guys. Tired, hungry, concentrate. So looking at our structure, H1 says, if I am tired or hungry, then I cannot concentrate. So that's a conditional. The catch is that or tells us we've got a disjunction on that one side of the conditional. Yikes. So then we have, it shouldn't be R, should it? Nope, it should not be. It should be the negation of R because it says I cannot concentrate. So there's H1. As I said, this is already like at least a quantum level above what we've been dealing with earlier, right? I got it. We got this, okay? So on the upside, H2 is super simple. I can concentrate. All that is the statement R. Now our conclusion is, again, a little more intricate. It says, I am not tired and not hungry. I have 2 nots. That means I need a negation on each of P and Q. That and indicates a conjunction. So, as I said, this one is involved. So, like I said, if we got this guy, we got everything. So, party on. Oh dear. All right. So here's our setup. I've gone ahead, got that stuff put in there. Again, don't memorize these things because now we got to work kind of double time. Before we can get to the hypothesis, again, I'm going to need to use. I'm going to need to do some legwork. I need the disjunction of P and Q again. So looking at the P and Q columns, at least one true means I have a true. Otherwise, I have a false. I only have a pair of falses down here at the bottom. So that's one column down. Then I need the negation of R. I still can't write down what's going on with H1. We're going to get there, I promise. So now I take my R column and flip-flop the true-false values. So that's that. Now I can do H1. P, Q implies not R. So here's H1. I'm short on space. I can't label it. This is my H1. So true implies false. That's false. True implies true. It's true. True implies false. Again. True implies true. Again. True implies false. Again. True implies true. So yeah, we've got that cycle repeating a bunch until it finally breaks down here. False implies false. Still considered true. False implies true. Is true. Okay. That's H1. Again, H2 was nice and simple. It's just R. So all right. So now I've got my H1, I've got my H2. Feels nice just to be able to write that instead of having all of those symbols in there. But again, this is a conjunction. I need a pair of truths. That happens right here and nowhere else. So, got that. All right, so that's what the H1 and H2 column looks like. I've run out of board. Okay, I've collapsed things back down. We really only need H1 and H2. So now, before we can get to the conclusion, I need to negate both P and Q. So I flip-flop the P column. I do the same thing with the Q column. Okay, now I've got to hook these guys up with a conjunction. That's my conclusion. False and false. False. Same thing. False and true. So false. I need a pair of trues. So the only time I have true and true are these two guys here at the bottom. Okay. So that's my conclusion. This is C. This is my H1 and H2. This is my C. So I'm going to cut out the middleman here just in terms of structure so they're not misleading anybody. So, yeah, on your paper, that's fine. All right, so I make my way down through here. False implies false. That happens a bunch. I've got, 6 of those in a row. False implies false is a true statement. True implies true, also a true statement. False implies true, that's also a true statement. We did not have true implies false. That's the bad one. Okay, looking here. Show them what they've won, Carol Merrill. If you get that, great. If not, don't worry. We have a column that is entirely true. As a result, that means our argument is, in point of fact, valid. So yeah, Shazam, huzzah, mic drop, whatever you want at this point. We got to it. This is, in fact, a valid argument. So that's argument analysis. That's chapter 1. So I think we've done enough here. So yeah, go make yourself a sandwich.